Alright, in this video I'm going to talk about my King Mathers art and go over it layer by layer, showing you the updates and just what I do in general to give you some tips maybe. And I'm also going to talk about my Relapse 2 art quickly. So yeah, before I get started, I just want to say, join my Discord, it's in the description. That's where I give updates and you can actually help me or talk to me about specific stuff or give me ideas. And like I go through the process of making the art, I post updates there and I get suggestions and do polls or whatever. So yeah, and then also I'm going to be updating Relapse 2 in a little bit, not a little bit actually, maybe a while, with some higher quality versions of the songs, and also I want to redo the intro, but nothing major. So if you have the album, you're good. Don't worry about getting the update right away. It'll come out when it comes out. And now let's get started with the art. So first off, I just chose a picture of him from a photo shoot. This one's actually from 2007, so that's why it's perfect. It's not like a 2006 picture or like 2002, which just seems out of place. And it's a weird setting, but I like that you can actually like see that he's sitting here. It doesn't look super photoshopped, which is good. I adjusted the colors and I lowered the opacity, which is one tip actually. If you're gonna make something darker, always lower the opacity and have a black layer behind it. That's why I did that, because as you can see, it would look really stupid like that. So you want to have a just a background layer. Same with my Relapse 2. That's what I did, background layer. Yeah, and I think this setting's cool though, because it's sort of like showing his Slim Shady side, like he's killing people and burying them, even though that's still kind of corny, I guess. But and also he's like burying other rappers on the mic, and that's why he's in a graveyard. Plus, it's his last album. Like it was scrapped, but it was gonna be his album that he quit on, and it was really depressing because he was depressed and addicted to drugs. So yeah, I think it fits. And then we added the title here, which is the Eminem font, and it's the backwards E. And I added this little symbol with the crown because I feel like it adds on to the title. It would be too basic without it, but with it, it sort of is reminiscent of Encore and Curtain Call, which had like the curvy lines. But obviously, this isn't a Curtain style album, so that's fine like that. And I don't like having hard edges like this that just cut off. I like to have shading, and normally I would do the shading like this and just have it like very faint. But since this is a dark album and it's depressing, I think it's fine to have it like that. But I'll make it look better by adding textures down, which sort of makes everything wavy and like more detailed and really cool. And it's actually interesting. This is at opacity 0.3, but if you turn it up, this is literally just a black and white fire texture. I saw a fire texture online. I made it grayscale by going color, saturation, and turning it all the way down. And then I lower the opacity a buttload, and that's what we got. And it actually fits pretty well. Next up, I have film grain, which also gives it sort of a like an old feel, I guess. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I think it looks good. It fits this album. Like this wouldn't fit on every album, you know, like Eminem Show, for example. It would just look weird having it, but since he's in a graveyard, it's all like kind of creepy. I think it's good. And then I was gonna do a border or something. I wasn't sure what color to do it, so I'm not gonna do that. But most albums don't have borders, but like the Re-Up in 2006 had a border. I guess um, that was a drawing, so it made more sense. But yeah, and then last but not least, I have the explicit tag. This one I added a white border because I think it makes it look better than just not having it, because it's mostly black around it, and it just looks like really nice like this, I guess. And in other albums, you're just gonna want to have it without the white border, but that's one thing that you gotta just judge it based on what it looks like. Same with the shading. If you want to have it like super hard shading or like very soft. And yeah, with those textures, both those textures, it really makes it look better than just see the difference between just this, which looks really high contrast. But when you give it these textures, it sort of takes it back a little bit, makes it look more realistic. So that's the front art. And next up, I'm going to go to the front inside. So if this was a real CD, you could flip this over and there'd be an inside, obviously like when you open the CD, like a book. And so I have this, which is a message to proof. It's adapted from the Relapse message to proof, but this album would come out instead of Relapse, and I changed it a little bit to fit the time period more. And so I have that, which I just use the text tool, type that out. I also have the same little logo thing, which is good. I do believe I need to actually update this. Hold on. I made it more bright and contrasted, not that much. I think that'll do. 25 there. Make it more yellowy gold because I felt like it was too mild. But yeah, so anyways, I have the same exact setup, the same exact shadows, the point 0.3 texture and the point 0.4 texture to keep it the same feel. And I have this, which I edited out. So another thing with the opacity, same thing. Like I use the erase tool to get rid of some of the edges, and I just decided to make the background the same color so that instead of just black, so that it blends in really well. And you can really see that difference. Look at the shading. Look how crappy that looks. But then you add the textures, and then it's like this soft shadow around it, which is perfect. Yeah, so I think that's all I'm gonna go over for that. Yeah, and so this is the back cover for the actual CD, and the reason it's so wide is because it's a square on the front, but there's like a little bit of extra space on the side. Plus, these two areas fold over onto the edge of it, like both sides of the CD. It's hard to explain. Like, what is it called? The edge? I don't know. So with this one, it has a lot more stuff going on, but I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. So what I did was I did the same black layer, and I took the same picture, but instead of using the erase tool and going around in a circle, I just kept it and copied it over here, and then I went back and did the erase tool around it and did the same thing or whatever. Actually, I only did the erase tool on the top half to get rid of the sky part. I kept the bottom intact, but yeah, so I took that and I did the exact same colorization. It was like a copy and paste, so it was obviously the same, but instead of erasing completely the sky, I kept it in a little bit. It sort of gives it a different feel. I like it. And then what else did I do? Oh yeah, I lowered the opacity to 25 instead of 30. I kept it at 25 instead of 30 because if it's a little bit darker, it's easier to read the text on the text like of the track list on the art. And then I reversed it actually using the flip tool because this side in general is darker and it sort of is bright over here. When I add this, you'll see, and the words just look better on that side. It's like it's just subtle stuff that you gotta like look over and do small changes, and you'll see it, even if it doesn't make that big a deal. So I erased this top part, and then I added in the shadows around the full thing, and as you can see, I didn't want any like hard edges. Like that, and also you can actually see Eminem because this is the same picture, but the shadows get rid of that. You can't even tell. Next, I added the executive producer. Normally, I like to put my text under, so it gives that like feel of the shadow, but obviously it's too harsh there, so I'm not going to do that there. But I will do it for the track list, so it'll be like slight shading over it. But I do have the textures above it. So next up, we have the same texture, this one that gives it like the wavy feel, and then the film grain, and so that's perfect. And then I have like the business, copyright, FBI, whatever stuff. This is the Shady Records info, aftermath stuff. I have all the label info, diagrams, and then it has the picture. Sorry, it has the words here of the message that they always put. This one's based off the curtain call one because, like I guess as the time went on, they changed the required stuff that you say or the way they formatted it or the law changed. I don't even know. But the Eminem show versus Encore versus the Curtain Call, they all are slightly different, even though they're all Aftermath records. And Curtain Call was the most latest, so that's what I did. Even though it's a compilation, it was the same like format. It wasn't like different because the re-up is completely different because that was a various artists compilation, but Current Call was just Eminem, so that fits. I changed the year to 2007, obviously. We have this, which I did just. We expand this. This is just text tool. I typed this out. This is the font, if you're curious. And then black background. And then I found this on Google, and this is just a random fake barcode. So yeah. And then last, I have the sides right here, which fold over, which make it a little bit smaller actually. So the art will like end here, and then this will be on the spine of the CD. And yeah, so that's the back art. I'm not going to show my track list yet because I'm going to reveal that later, but I do have a couple of tips for that. First I put the numbers down, and I make the numbers in a small font, and then I have the words, which are in a bigger font for the song titles. And then if it's a feature tag, you don't need to use parentheses. You just write feat with the period, space, artist, and I make that whole feature, whatever artist, in a different color than the song title, so there's contrast. That way, like if somebody was looking at the CD, the featured artists would pop out and they'd see that, and it just makes it look better. And same thing with the skits. I put that in dark gray so that you can just easily see what are skits and what are actual songs. So that's pretty much it. I also moved the text up, so like you see how this is like here, and then I did that, and that needs to be a smaller font. But like you see how it's not perfect. Obviously it's not that small, but you see how like this is a song and then this is like above it. It's supposed to be like flat in a line. This is a fucking shitty font. What even am I doing? Like it's like that. I guess I'll just go through it, but you change it like that, and then it just looks good. Then you would change the color like that, and then you'd have the number, which is the same thing. I can't bother it, so let's just get rid of that, minimize that. So there we go. That's the back art, and then to go with the back art is the inside back art. Now I haven't really finished this. I'm not sure what I want to do, but it's the exact same textures and the shading, but just with nothing in the background. I do have a Detroit map, which I was debating, but it just seems kind of out of place. So yeah, that's all my King Mathers arts that I've been updating and doing, and you know, these fit really well together. You can just imagine a CD with this on the front, this on the back, and this was just made from Google image textures and a random photo shoot promotion picture he did in 2007. So let's close out of these. Let's not save them in case I fuck something up. Let's actually save that one because I did change something there. And then this is the Relapse 2 art. So I'll show you why I did the white background, because as you can see, I had to get rid of the black, and I used refill, and I used just various methods, and it's always good to just have that white background so you never have to worry about filling stuff in. And I have an alternate version right here, which I'll show you. This is just a picture of Eminem that I colorized, and then I added slight shadow. See, this is what I was talking about earlier. This would look ridiculous, so it's like very faint shadows, and then I have the little sticker here, and then I have the iTunes explicit tag, and there we go. That's art. That's very simple. This isn't the best one, but I think it fits pretty well. It looks fine. Here is the Relapse 2 pill design version. So I guess that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. Thanks for watching, guys.